The following program is a collection of hooligans engaging in lively conversations about anything and everything that happens to populate in their heads. It is meant to be comedic entertainment. The opinions expressed on the show do not necessarily reflect the beliefs of the hosts, their peers, AIM Student Radio, or the Communication Media Department. P.S. Don't sue us and don't believe anything we say.
Good evening, Ames. Wow, I could have done that better, but there's a reason that this is a late night show, folks. Welcome to the Dumpster Fire 4.1, part of Ames Student Radio, the way radio should be. I am Josh. The rest of our lovely cast should be in momentarily. We are doing a special late night bonus episode of the Dumpster Fire 4.1. We shall see what happens tomorrow. Tomorrow is the finale, the final episode, the finito, the end. And honestly, what a semester it has truly been. I honestly can't believe that it's over already. We got 2 days left of the semester. Tomorrow, this is it, folks. For those of you doing your finals, about to graduate, congratulations to all of you. Enjoy that moment. Please do. Enjoy it. Live it up. Celebrate it. I know I certainly did. I've done it twice. Still going for my third. Don't worry. The dream still continues after that, because even after I'm done with one degree, I'm just going to jump right into another. Like I said, I'm pretty much here until the wheels fall off or something drastically changes, which I don't think it will. But all in all, before everybody else shows up, I just wanted to thank you all for listening to this show this past semester. This show, we have really taken the show to places that it had never gone before. We're on Spotify now. There are people around the world that do listen to this show. It's not just limited to here on campus or on Radio FX. It's on Spotify. It's basically anybody with a phone or computer with internet access can pull up and listen to this show. To listen to this group, this trio of hooligans just go off and talk about anything and everything, as the disclaimer says, that happens to pop into our heads. The goal of this show, and it will continue to be, is to make you laugh. To make you forget about all the craziness of the world. Even if it's just for a few moments, even if you just listen to one segment of our show, if in that one segment we were able to make you laugh, or even if it was just to the point where you're like, okay, what these guys are saying is completely dumb, but it made you forget about the chaos of the world outside, then we did our job. And that is the thing that I am honestly the most proud of with this show ever since the beginning, because I've said it before, but I don't really want to be a news guy. I don't really want to be the big shot reporter. No. If anything, I've always seen kind of what I do here as being like the late night host, heck, even the daytime talk show host, just the person that kind of makes you laugh and forget about the world, even for just a split second. If it includes, many of our crazy segments, such as like us following the story with the Cybertruck all semester long, or trying out whatever coffee blend Dax and Kion bring in, or seeing what kind of weird energy drink I'm going to consume, or even having, sweet potato pancakes just for the sake of it. We did all of this in an effort to make you laugh, to entertain you. And I sincerely hope I do believe that we did accomplish that goal this semester, but we're not going anywhere. No. Kion and myself will continue to keep the show going throughout the summer, so that will be the Dumpster Fire 4.2 before kicking off in the fall again with the Dumpster Fire 5.0. Yes, we are on the 5th incarnation of the show, ladies and gentlemen, and it is not slowing down anytime soon. This has also been on my end, quite a adventurous semester, not like the other ones haven't. So just keep in mind, throughout my tenure here on this show, what have I had to endure? Little bit of a list. Let's see. Both of my parents getting multiple surgeries, multiple major surgeries. Losing my grandmother in Mexico, my last surviving grandparent. Lost her, oddly enough, on 9/11. Do with that what you will. Up until even up to about almost 2 months now, losing my godmother. Needless to say, my tenure here on this show has also been on that side of my life, dealing with a lot of other things. And then to top it off, this semester, I won't get into too much details because, like I said, we're here to make you laugh. But I essentially had to deal with losing my godmother and getting my heart broken in a very, very, it basically happened at the same time. I'm just going to be honest. And it was rough. It really kind of was. I will be the first one to admit it did even affect a few of the episodes, because I just kind of knew the state of mind that I was in. Now, before any of you worry, no, I'm fine. Things are a lot better now. I feel much better. My heart is in a much happier place now, knowing that there are way more possibilities that I was closing myself off to for many years, and in a sense, I needed to peel the Band-Aid off. I needed to basically have somebody say, Josh, for the love of all that is holy, open your eyes. It has been years. You can do what you want. You've always been able to do what you want. So yeah, it's but like I said, I feel so much better. Please don't worry about me. I'm not going anywhere. If I'm going out like a warrior. That's just a given. But throughout all of this show has given me something to look forward to every week. Every week this semester, no matter how bad things got, no matter how, even if I had woken up from being quite a sad little boy the night before, I knew, hey, it's show day. Let's get up. Let's get ready. Let's go. Let's do what we know how to do. Let's go make people laugh. Wow. I'm sorry, folks. I had to find the words here for a second, but this has kept me going, and not just through what's happened recently, but throughout the entire time doing this show. You know, seeing my parents and spending way more time inside of a hospital than I've ever wanted to spend in my entire life. And honestly, I am totally okay if I never have to step in the surgery waiting room of a hospital again for the rest of my life. That is how strongly I feel about that. Because I tell you, folks, hospitals, they're places to heal and to get better, but at the same time, good Lord, they can be so draining sometimes, especially when you know that someone that you love is going through not the lightest of procedures, and you know it's going to be something they're going to ultimately feel better, but you know that it's ultimately going to change their life. It was quite a bit to stomach. It was quite a lot to go through. But this show has been the thing that's kept me going, and it's continued to keep me going because I am here to make people laugh. I am here for people to have a good time, because at the same time, it helps me feel better knowing like, hey, yeah, my heart's broken, but there are other people out there who want to hear something else to help them laugh, to help them get over it. And I want to be somebody who, along with healing myself, I can provide that for people. In the words of Taylor Swift, lights, camera, smile, even when you want to die. And I'll even use another quote from that same song. It's from I Can Do It With a Broken Heart, which has kind of been maybe the motto of my life as of late. Kind of ironic that the Tortured Poets Department came out pretty much right at the tail end of my heartbreak. So, yeah, kind of weird timing there. Love the album, though, Taylor. Seriously, can't say enough. But as she also says in the song, because I can do it with a broken heart. And that's what I've done. Things are so much better now. They will continue to get better. Our crew will be in momentarily, so I just wanted to take this time before they showed up and the hijinks truly begin to thank you all so much for listening to this crazy, slightly muscular, bald emo dude just go on about whatever happens to pop into his head with his cast of hooligans that he's had here throughout the years. I love this. I've said it so many times, but I love this. I need this. And up next, this is still topically relevant, however. I will let it get back to the music here, but up next, because apparently we only have one Kendrick Lamar song on this station, and it happens to be the remix of Bad Blood, which is a Taylor Swift song. So I'm kind of knocking out two birds in one stone. This weekend, we have seen one of the most high-profile and intense rap feuds that we've seen in so long. Literally, my head was on a swivel. We had two artists dropping music left and right. We had Drake dropping bleh. We had Kendrick dropping bangers. It was absolutely hip-hop rap needed this. Honestly, Drake just waved the white flag, buddy. You lost. Sorry. Kendrick won. What more can I say about that? Kendrick won. Obviously, it's clear who I'm on, whose side I'm on. Kung Fu Kenny. And now we will let it get back to the music here on AIM Student Radio, the way radio should be. Enjoy. And welcome back to the Dumpster Fire 4.1, part of AIM Student Radio, the way radio should be. I am Josh, here with Dax and with Kion.
I'm opening packages. I'm so sorry. I'm making like the worst crinkling noises.
The expression you made when you realized we were going on air and we're still trying to open this package of whatever it is you're trying to open was very good. I wish that expression would be able to be put on air because it was gold. Yes. What is that? What are you opening?
What are those?
What?
Tarot cards?
No, those are not. Those are like the things that you use to hold up stuff on like slat hooks.
This is
Oh.
These are earring holders, bro.
Oh.
I'm making earrings.
Well, you
I thought they were
I have
like
no piercings. I'm not exactly the target demographic to know this.
But even then, you still what
You have
tarot
existed.
card
Yeah.
has a hole in the middle?
Your mom.
I didn't see,
No.
I didn't see the
the holder upper
opening.
part. Yeah.
I didn't see the opening, so I was like, and I just see like a flat card, and I'm like, oh, okay.
Yeah, no, I'm not. Whatever.
But I have a water bottle today because I realized that I am severely dehydrated. And I was like, hey, wait, maybe this headache that I have and the general feeling of feeling awful is due to the fact that I haven't drank water in 3 days. That might be it.
And then there's me at like almost 2 gallons today.
Right. And so, but the only water bottle available at Dax's house was this, like squeeze, like Gatorade one, and it has come to my attention that I don't know how to use this kind of water bottle. I've suffered trying to use it. So
I had one of those, but the lid never like would stay on right, so I would use the bottle and it would always drip out of the side. I'm like, no.
yeah, So far, I've made myself go into like 3 coughing fits while using this because I keep inhaling the water. So it's not going well so far, but
Yeah, it's kind of sadly astonishing how incapable Kion is at drinking water.
yeah. It's a miracle I'm alive.
I mean, yeah. I mean, well, to be fair, on break, I pulled the move that may have me questioning my sanity or lack thereof.
Mm-hmm.
So Dax brought in this. It's like the Kroger brand of like the Mio
Mios, yeah.
energy or the Mio drink supplements, and it was an orange one. And I'm like, I wonder what this would taste like just drinking it straight up and not mixing it with water.
The answer is bad.
The answer is bad.
I warned him. I just want to point out that I did warn him. I told him that's going
Yeah.
to be a bad decision.
I think he made a new expression. Yeah.
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 Yeah. But it was all in the name of the bit. Got to commit to the bit.
What bit? I mean, there was no audience. I guess
Yeah.
I'm the audience.
It was an audience of one.
Yeah.
I don't count as an audience.
Well,
Yes,
you
do.
were
Well, I
part
mean,
of
you're
the
wearing, like, a
participating.
like a ghost shirt, so who knows?
If you wear a ghost shirt, that makes you a ghost?
It's official. I'm dead because I'm wearing a ghost shirt
I think that's math.
and other incomprehensible garbage that Josh has said.
Oh my gosh. But hey, so actually, let's go ahead and get a quick check here of your weather. Currently in beep beep boop. Wow, computer's taking a
Oh,
second.
beep beep boop. That's my favorite place. Which Ames campus is that?
It's right outside of Parts Unknown.
Okay.
But girl, oh my gosh! Sorry, folks. This that
Oh,
that,
no.
that drink mix did not it is not letting me oh no, it's making me regret my choice.
But I told you it was a bad choice. It says on the bottle, always dilute. That was
Yeah.
your fault.
I'm not blaming anyone else.
Good.
But currently in Fort Lupton, it is currently 54 degrees with a low of 40, partly cloudy skies, wind gusts of a whopping 1 mile per hour. Currently in Loveland, it is 52 degrees, a high of 40, partly cloudy skies, wind gusts of up to 13 miles per hour. Woo! I don't want to see an ad for this. Thank you. Currently in Windsor, it is 54 with a low of 37, partly cloudy skies, and wind gusts of up to 9 miles per hour. And currently on the home campus of Greeley, it is 55 degrees, a high of 30 or a low of 37, mostly cloudy
High
skies.
of 37.
Wind gusts of up to 5 miles per hour. It's like it's not winter anymore.
I don't believe that it's only wind gust of 5 miles per hour. It
Yeah,
was
no,
really
I don't think
whooshy.
so. I
Yeah,
was like,
no,
right now when I was
it's
walking
real
over here, I
bad.
was like, ah.
Yeah.
It almost knocked my full cup of human bean
Yeah.
smoothie over off of the top of my car earlier.
Ooh, that would have been
Does
bad.
anybody else hear that buzzing sound? Am I going crazy?
I do hear it.
No, I hear
Okay,
it.
cool. We'll have to investigate when we...
We will have to investigate this. But
I've heard that in here before, though, so I didn't think anything of it.
it's just Freddy Fazbear.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. Hey, Freddy.
What is this show?
Freddy
This is a late night episode of the Dumpster Fire, so it's even
And it's
more
the
dumpster
last
fiery
episode
before.
of the semester.
This is
True.
an episode of when Kion is very past being on meds. As in, I didn't take them today, and by this point in the day, they would have worn off anyway. So, yay!
This is going to be fun. And we will be back here on AIM Student Radio, the way radio should be. Up next, we got Not Your Fault by AWOL Nation. Enjoy. And welcome back to the Dumpster Fire 4.1, part of AIM Student Radio, the way radio should be. I am Josh, and I am not okay.
I was most definitely not playing Minecraft, and most definitely not actively. I definitely knew we were about to go live. Yes.
You knew.
Right. Yeah. I was
Yeah.
definitely prepared for this.
Yeah.
Yep.
I have to be delirious if I'm doing what I was doing.
Yeah. What was Josh doing?
I went on Hot Topics website
Yeah.
and a few weeks ago I made a joke about wanting to buy a Twilight shirt.
So what did Josh do?
So Josh went and bought a Twilight shirt from Hot Topic.
Uh-huh. And how many dollars?
It was only 21.
Oh.
21?
Only $21?
Only 21.
Okay.
And
All
then they
right.
actually had an MCR shirt on sale that I actually didn't own somehow.
Uh-huh. So Josh bought a Twilight shirt
And an MCR shirt, and now
for the low
realizing how
price of...
it was only $9.99 for that shirt.
Okay.
But now
so let's do
realizing
some math here.
But now realizing just how interlinked MCR and Twilight. Oh no.
Oh, no.
Why did you know this? You know the pipeline. Anyway, so what we were going to talk about
Wasn't that?
surely was not that. We were going to talk about
But we
the-
can do a segue with it. What does MCR, Hot Topic, and Twilight? What connects all those things?
No, we're not talking about that.
No, we're not. Oh, we're not.
Not
No.
the iceberg?
I would. Okay, you guys can talk about the iceberg. Somebody
I
else
wasn't
bring it
gonna
up.
talk about the iceberg. I was gonna
Okay.
talk about Tumblr.
I
Yeah,
can do
okay, got it.
okay.
Got it. Okay, so basically, so I recently saw on Tumblr somebody say that like a young kid, probably like 14, 15,
Yeah.
you know, say that they wish that they
But
had
currently
been,
in middle school.
Yeah, currently in middle school. Said that they wish that they were in middle school during like the 2012, 2013, 2014 Dan and Phil era,
Uh-huh.
and it hurt my soul a little bit
Yeah.
because no, you don't.
Yeah. Essentially, there's a fad at the moment of people trying to bring back like scene kid clothes, or like what they think is scene kid clothes, and being like, I want to be back in like the peak of Tumblr because I'm different. I'm not like the other girls. I would have fit in back then. And it's like, honey, we didn't fit in back then either. So
Yeah, like
They wouldn't have survived.
no.
no,
No.
the kids on Twitter now, and I think that it's the culture of it that made us be able to withstand it. But the
Yeah.
way that they are now, they would not survive.
No.
And that's not to
I don't
like
think they could survive current Tumblr.
that's not a bad thing.
No.
They should not be expected to survive that. It was a toxic place, right?
There was
Like,
many things that children our age should not have been exposed to.
And we were, and that's a problem. And
Yeah.
you know what? They are living in a time where there are better things to do with your time on the internet now.
yeah.
There are also way worse things to do with your time. However, there are better things to do. I think that children should stop wishing.
I think it's just one of the
Like-
cases of they don't really know what they're asking for, you know?
It's the whole I was born in the wrong era thing.
Yeah.
And it's like what you don't understand about that era is like the stigma that came around it.
right.
And also like that was a very, very toxic time.
I think part of it too is that a lot of those kids, even if they do kind of sort of understand some of the stigma, they don't necessarily realize that it was like, oh no, I lost my brain train.
The amount of progress on queer issues that's happened since
Yeah.
2012
Yeah.
is insane. Like,
Like-
in the
Yeah.
last decade, we have made leaps and strides, right? Like the amount of times we'd be called a slur, even on Tumblr.
Oh yeah,
Oh.
frequently.
Like it was a thing, and
It was,
you know
it
what?
was very
Now,
much a thing.
now
Yeah.
the reason I say that they probably really could not take that is that the amount of times that happened,
yeah,
insurmountable.
And it isn't like
And-
current Tumblr where a lot
Yeah.
of people are like reclaiming a lot of like
yeah,
stuff
a lot
like
of
that.
slurs, but like it was used against you.
yeah, it
And
was very
it
much
was a majority of people. It was the edgy humor, and a lot of the times now they're like, that's not acceptable, we shouldn't stand for that. But in the previous time, it's like
Oh,
that
here's
was
an example,
just
too.
that was just like the expectation.
Yeah.
I just remembered another example too. For a while, and I think 2012, there was a substantial amount of people on Tumblr who legitimately thought that schizophrenia was the same thing as DID.
Oh.
So,
gosh,
and
I
like they
remember
would
that.
have like, oh, it's like today I am like this Tumblr blog, and they're like, no, first of all, that's not how DID works. Second of all, you say that you have schizophrenia, a different thing. So
Which is
yeah, so
that's actively happening on TikTok, but we're not going to talk about that. We're just going to keep moving on with
but
that.
still.
Because history repeats itself, and so they talk about how they wish they were back in that time, and I'm like, history repeats itself.
Yeah.
The same thing is happening. We're watching in horror as the same thing happens, as
Again.
people are separated, like people are separated because people were shipping two dudes who are gay, but we're not out. We watched that happen. I mean, it happened with Dan and Phil. It happened with Tubbo and Ranboo. It's gonna keep happening.
Yeah.
They want this thing that they already have, and they think it's so awful. Well, we did it first.
Yeah.
It's like the internet.
Yeah.
Honestly, I think the main thing that they don't get is that if what they're asking for, they can just do. Like, if you want to dress alt, you can.
Yeah.
If you want to be engaged with alt culture or like pro like mental health circles, you can find those like easily. It's the thing that I don't love about it is a lot of them are like, I wish that I had a space like this where I could dress this way, or like other people understand it, and it's like, then go to Tumblr now.
Yeah.
You know?
And it wasn't acceptable back then.
Right.
Let me tell you, I had like, we did like the hair over the face. Oh, we're so
yeah.
edgy. We
Oh.
thought we were something.
Yeah.
I mean, I have to say that as somebody who did do that or tried to, because my hair was really kind of wavy like Kion's, so I would try to do like the hair over the eye thing, like the scene look,
Mhm.
but then it would always kind of curl off to like one end.
I
So it looked
understand
really
that.
funky.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
I don't know if you have this problem too, but I tried to have like the long bangs, but I have such a bad like middle part that it would like it would just like look like I was like almost bald
Yeah.
because of how I would have like my hair put down.
Oh yeah, no,
it wasn't good.
No, I would do. I had the same problem, and
Yeah.
it was actually at that point that I realized, like, oh, I'm losing hair, because then I would try to style it
Because it would get
differently,
worse.
and then it's like, nope, that spot's still there, and that's when it was like, oh,
Yeah, and mine
Oopsie.
is just that I have like 75% calyx and like weird like middle parts.
yeah,
So
So I went in, and as I feel like this is a universal trans boy experience for like
Yeah.
half the white trans boys that exist. So I went in asking. I pulled up a picture of Daniel Howell and asked for his haircut.
Oh
Okay.
no.
First of all, he has curly hair. It
That's
would
not
never
gonna work for you.
Which at the time he was straightening his hair every day. He was trying to make his hair look like my hair, which is kind of
Yeah.
funny. But they gave me the most atrocious bowl cut looking pixie cut that you've ever seen, and I was like, that is not what I asked for. But I was happy because at least it wasn't
long.
it wasn't
Yeah.
long.
Yeah.
And so, but I would style it like I would at home. I would have it, the way that my mom wanted it, and then I would go to school and comb
just
it in
like-
front of my face. I don't know who I thought I was. I dressed in the clothes that my mother got for me, which were like very, very basic clothes, and I would always just throw a black hoodie over it because I was trying real hard to be emo.
Yeah.
I-
A plain black hoodie does not make it emo, unfortunately.
No.
No.
It,
Neither does.
at least I wasn't the kid who wore fishnets that were too small for them, and a
Yeah.
Markiplier hoodie, and a short skirt, and the same ones every single day, and a pair of platform boots that she would take off about 15 minutes into the school day because they hurt her feet.
That sounds right.
shots
Yeah.
fired.
Yeah.
Oh no, no shots fired. This is one of the nicest people I've met in my entire
okay.
life. They're amazing.
Okay.
I'm just saying, like we
That
were
was
all
a
trying
choice.
I
so
was gonna
hard,
say-
and it was a choice. And I bet now they're looking back at it saying, that was a choice.
I mean, kind of just remembering like the way that I would dress at that time, like. I mean,
Yeah.
it's not much different than the way I dress now.
Which is almost concerning, but it is Josh, so we
Yeah.
just accept it and move on.
Like, at least now there is more color, and then there's definitely more sports jerseys, because like middle school and high school I couldn't afford like sports jerseys, So I didn't wear them very often. Like if I wore them, it was like a very, very special occasion. And the jersey that I had was probably one from a Broncos player that left like 3 years ago, and they had their jersey at the Arc for like $5.
Right.
So yeah, no, I wasn't wearing a lot of that. But like a lot of stuff from Ross, because like middle and high school, when sort of the emo thing was starting to kind of like phase out just a little bit, a lot of people were getting rid of their clothes.
Yeah.
Or I would go to Ross and stuff, and they would have like the shirts I wanted for dirt cheap. So I'd be like,
Nice.
Ooh, you know?
Yeah. I think half of my wardrobe was exclusively free T-shirts I got from Eagles games. So there's that.
That checks out.
Yeah.
That clocks.
Yeah. And flannels that I would wear over them. So
That clocks.
yeah.
Yeah.
We should let them get back to some music for a short period of time.
Yeah, I was gonna say, do I go back to what I was doing?
Oh, getting more shirts?
No, the other thing.
Well, I forgot what Josh was doing.
The,
Let's go back to music so we can figure out what Josh is talking about.
The whole watching certain scenes from certain franchise, and then it's like, wait, why do I know
No,
this?
stop watching
Oh.
Twilight scenes and quoting them with the Twilight scene, okay?
And then realizing with agony that you know almost every word.
I am appreciating the late night chill vibe. I don't need you quoting Twilight, please, for my sanity. At least wait until like 9 when I've had some dinner.
Good
Yeah.
point. And we will let it go back to the music here on AIM Student Radio, the way radio should be. And welcome back to the Dumpster Fire 4.1, part of AIM Student Radio, the way radio should be. I am Josh here with...
I'm tucking in my shirt, man. Leave me alone.
Here with Dax and with Kion.
Kion is eating an egg roll. I'm tucking in my shirt. We're normal.
I had an egg roll.
We got dinner.
We got dinner,
Yeah.
which definitely was an entree and not just appetizers.
And it was a perfectly healthy and nutritious meal.
Right.
Yep.
Yeah.
Definitely had proportionate amounts of protein.
Yup.
And the rest of it.
Oh, yeah. Absolutely.
Wasn't just fried food and wonton soup.
Yeah, it wasn't just fried food and wontons.
No, that's not what happened here.
No, that's...
And we at AIM Student Radio definitely do not condone ordering solely egg rolls and crab rangoons.
I
No.
mean, we do, but we don't.
Right.
I condone it. That has the Dax seal of approval. You guys are a bunch of babies.
Well, I mean, it is good, and it is the correct decision. But I feel like I shouldn't condone it, because it shouldn't be the correct decision, you know?
I'll condone what I want.
That's real.
It shouldn't be, but it is.
That's, yeah. Josh, yeah.
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 Yeah. What are you doing?
Organizing.
Ah.
I just see all these little, like, just boxes,
Yeah.
smaller boxes coming out of bigger boxes.
And it's just, there's too many boxes.
There's
I'll
so
box
many
both-
boxes.
I'll box both of you.
Like a fish?
Box like a fish. Don't try me.
Oh.
I
Ding,
woke up and
ding.
chose violence today. It's okay.
Ding, ding.
I want to lay down.
You want to lay down.
Yeah.
We came on without a single plan of what we were going to talk about.
Yeah, I mean,
Josh
to be fair,
hit
up until
play-
about 2 hours, like, before we actually got here, we weren't even thinking really of being here, but now we are.
Right.
Yeah. No, this was very much like a last minute plan, but it's
Right.
fine.
It kind of goes in line with the whole dumpster fire theme.
Yeah, last show of the semester, last
Yeah.
show where I'm an enrolled student at Ames.
I know. What am I going to do?
I'll
be
be
fine.
here, but
I know you'll be here, Kion.
I hardly ever have brain, so
I'll be in the country
for part of it.
True.
For part of it.
part of it.
Yeah.
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 Where did I put there? I put my beads. I'm making stuff. Don't even worry about it.
Yeah,
guys.
Dax is currently making jewelry. I'm eating egg rolls. Josh is listening to Ghost.
Yeah. I
Yeah.
was listening to Ghost. And actually, let's go ahead and get a quick check here of your weather, because I'm quite sure that the weather has changed a bit since we've been here.
It's rough out there. I went out to go grab our Chinese food and was like, haha, glad I'm not outside.
I mean, yeah. Currently in Fort Lupton, it is 54 degrees with a low of 40, partly cloudy skies, wind gusts of up to 1 mile an hour. Currently in Loveland, it is 51 with a low of 39, partly cloudy skies, wind gusts of up to 22 miles per hour. Ooh.
Jeez.
That sounds right.
And currently in Windsor, it is 53 with a low of 37, partly cloudy skies, wind gusts of up to 5 miles per hour. And on the home campus of Greeley, it is 53 degrees with a low of 38, partly cloudy skies, and wind gusts of up to 8 miles per hour, which I'm pretty sure is not accurate.
Yeah,
No, there's no way that's accurate.
Oh, no, just looking at... Because there's still a little bit of sunlight, and I can see the trees over here, like, billowing, and it's like, yeah, no, that's way more than...
Yeah, I mean,
billowing.
before we came here, when we were driving around, one of the stoplights was like the whole bar was like shaking. So
Oh,
I'm pretty
geez.
sure it's more than 5 miles per hour.
Yeah.
But
What do
alas,
we know?
What do we know?
We're not the
we're
weather.
we're not weather
Meteorologists.
people.
We're not the weather.
We're not the weather.
I'm
Josh
the weather.
said the weather. Dax said meteorologist. I said the weather. Yeah.
Yeah.
So topics. We're talking.
Topics, yes.
Mhm.
Yeah, this
Why
summer
don't we-
is baby boo.
Baby boop. What?
Do you guys have plan? When is your show going to be this summer?
I sent an email to Joe. I don't remember what it said.
I think you had said something about Mondays.
I think it might be on Mondays. I should pull that up.
Yeah, I was gonna say so that way I can get my schedule
Okay,
into
guys,
work.
we're gonna go. But you guys get back to the music for just a minute, so I can have a word with these two.
Yeah, something
Like-
yeah.
Like, please go back to the music for just a second, Josh. I
Okay.
just.
Okay. And welcome back to the Dumpster Fire 4.1, part of AIM Student Radio, the way radio should be. I am Josh, here with Dax and with Kion.
We're
Hello.
here.
We are here.
We are tired.
We are here. We are tired. This is a late night show.
And we definitely have a plan.
And we,
We
do
do
have
have a
a
plan.
plan. Dax has
Yay.
a plan.
Dax has a plan. So, guys,
Yeah.
how do you guys feel about the current state of Disney movies?
Oh, we're going to be specific and say
Oh.
Disney?
Oh yeah, for sure.
Okay, then
What
bad.
What other animated movies? Other animated movies are like decent, reasonable, whatever.
Yeah.
Disney movies have gotten particularly awful. So
Yeah.
I was going to say, I mean, we had Spider-Verse, so yeah.
I
Although that was
feel
Sony,
like
never mind.
Disney hurts worse knowing how big of a company they are and how much of a grip they have on like the population, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like the fact that they are seen as the cultural mecca and then they make really mid films is what's particularly painful.
I mean,
you know?
the amount of IPs that they've acquired
Right.
with all the studios that they bought as of late, and then they're like, oh, we're going to do continuations on all of these. They're like, oh, we're going to do more Planet of the Apes. Oh, we're going
Yeah.
to do more Indiana Jones. Why? Because we own these
Yeah.
own these franchises.
Yeah.
We're going to get another Alien movie. Same thing. When Disney bought Fox, they got all of those IPs, and now
Yeah.
they're like, oh, here we go. And we're seeing a trend where it's starting to kind of backfire because, like, Indiana Jones was supposed to be, a box office juggernaut.
Right.
It wasn't. Some
Because
of the
it
Marvel
was-
movies supposed to be box office juggernauts. They weren't.
One of the things that really sums up how I feel about Marvel is actually a post that I saw on Tumblr a while ago, and essentially it was like they marketed Endgame as this big final thing.
Yeah.
They had one major character retire, one of them die, and then were surprised when people were like didn't want to keep watching things after it. Because it's like, you made this the big finale,
Yeah.
and then you kept making things.
it makes sense to continue the Spider-Man
Yeah.
continue
Yeah.
Spider-Man movies because quite literally they're like that is part of his whole arc of like
Right.
Yeah.
like he is then having to figure out how to be a superhero without
Yeah.
the heroes that he grew up with
Yeah.
being around.
Moon Knight, it's his own thing.
Yeah, Moon
Literally
Knight-
very... I can't think of like any other hero that is centered out of London
Yeah.
in the MCU. And so like literally so disconnected from everything else. But like things like Loki and I think the Black Widow movie and
Yeah.
other stuff that was supposed to be a continuation of like the Avengers afterwards just felt so disingenuous. So
like
yeah.
Black Widow came, I think, just too late.
Yeah.
Like, because they had been talking about doing it for so long, but they took forever to actually get the ball rolling on it.
Yeah.
So it was hard to have any sort of like emotional stake to the movie
When you know what happens.
When you know what
right.
happens, and then at that point, they a lot of the plot was just like, oh, here's how she got that green vest that she's wearing in Infinity War.
I can say this. Okay, so this reminds me about the Han Solo movie.
Oh,
because the entire point of the Han Solo movie was like talking about, I forget all of the terminology. I'm not that big of a Star Wars fan.
Oh, here's how we got the Millennium Falcon.
Right.
Here's
it
how
answers,
we met Chewie.
It
Here's how
answers
we got the funny
questions
dice
that you weren't supposed to know the answers to. For
Yeah.
example, I forget what it's called, but when he first meets Luke, he says something about like I'm the guy who invented the cool
the
space
Kessel
run.
Yeah, he's like, I'm the guy who made the Kessel run in less
Kessel
than 12
run.
parsecs.
Right. And when you say that, and as a first-time viewer who watches that, you think, oh, that's cool. That's a cool space thing. Then that it adds mystique to his character.
Yeah.
But when you watch it and you find out that, oh, it just meant he did this, it removes all of his roguelike mystique.
Yeah,
it removes all of that.
When you watch A New Hope, but you don't watch Solo, and because Han Solo, especially in A New Hope, he's still kind of scummy.
Right.
Like, he's not fully heroic yet. Like, you think, oh, he's just, trying to talk himself up.
Right.
Because that was definitely a huge part of his character, especially in the earlier, especially like in A New Hope. And then as it goes on, obviously, he becomes more heroic. But
right.
Starting out, he's a swindler. Like,
That's
there's
the
a
other
reason
thing.
people want to go after him.
Having his origin movie actively makes the rest of his characterization so much worse.
Yeah.
Because you're now making this guy who is his whole arc is supposed to be slowly becoming his own hero.
Yeah.
You're giving him a movie where before all of that, he was the hero.
And it's like, no, he
Which
was
just
in it for the
destroys-
money at first.
Yeah, which just destroys all of his characterization.
Yeah.
And I feel like that's kind of what happened with Black Widow too.
Mm-hmm.
To way less of an extent, like it was way less as apparent. But because they ended up having her like very this is how she dies moment and then had her origin, they should have done it way more like a tragedy.
Yeah.
But then they didn't, and so it just felt very tone deaf.
It felt really weird.
Yeah.
Because the big thing was, like, we know how Black Widow's story ends.
Right.
And they could have done it to be way more of a tragedy. Like, when you watch the opening credits of Black Widow, like, the opening credits are actually really dark and twisted. And it's like, that's the movie I wanted to watch. Because there were rumors for a very brief period of time that they were thinking about making Black Widow, like, the dark R-rated.
Yeah.
Like,
and honestly, I feel like that's the film
that.
she deserved. Because, like, she was an assassin, basically.
Yeah,
and
like she was a child assassin.
Right, and that could have been a deep, heavy film. But then it just turned out to be another bathos-filled whatever Marvel movie, and it just the tone was not what it should have been.
The tone felt weird because even then, like when they rescue their dad, quote unquote, from the prison,
right,
and they talk about all the things that they have to go through in the Red Room to make sure no kids, and how they almost make it a joke when it's like that
should not be a joke.
It's like that is very shocking.
Yeah. That is, like, very horrific. Why are we making that a joke?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like, it was very weird. Although I will say my favorite part of that movie is just Yelena, because, like, Florence Pugh, it's like, yes, please. Like, give me sarcasm all day long.
And, like, it's all right to have there be funny moments and there to have her be a sarcastic character. But you have to be aware of what kind of story you're trying to tell.
Yeah.
And that kind of story was supposed to be something that was like, this isn't supposed to be family reunion. This is supposed to be like, basically like Godfather-esque, like, very heavy, and it just didn't hit either mark. It couldn't be
Yeah.
funny because it was trying to be heavy, but
Yeah.
it couldn't be heavy because it was trying to be too funny. So
Yeah, like with Marvel, you can do the funny approach with some characters and it does work really well, but there are others where it's like, no, you can't really do that a whole lot. Like Guardians of the Galaxy struck like the best balance because there's a lot of
yeah.
funny moments, but in reality, when you actually watch those movies, all of them have like some pretty messed up
Yeah.
backstories.
and is the latest one the fourth?
Third.
The third one's a very good example of how you can have good, funny moments
Yeah.
in a very emotional film. There
Yeah,
was
because
some,
it was twisted.
yeah, there was some very emotional parts in that movie, and it still managed to be very funny.
Yeah.
And I feel like that works because we expect Guardians of the Galaxy to be funny, and so when you do anything emotional, it works. But when you do it the other way, it doesn't. So
Like with Guardians, they know when to let the emotional moment play out and then when to throw in a laugh.
right.
It's not like where it's like, oh, there's like half of an emotional scene playing out and then, oh, throw in a joke because we can.
Yeah, I feel like even Spider-Man can struggle with that a little bit.
They did, like, it's gotten better as the movies went on. Like, in No Way Home.
I
like, they're-
disagree.
Oh, yeah?
Yeah, but I'll let you finish first. Go ahead.
Like, in No Way Home, they definitely balanced it out a little bit more, especially when you have Tom Holland's Spider-Man, like, going against Green Goblin. Like, they do, like, kind of, like, those emotional beats play out
Yeah.
where he is trying to fight the urge to just go insane after what Green Goblin did.
Right. What was the middle one?
The middle one was Far From Home.
Yeah, Far From Home I feel like was the worst of all of them. I agree that was it No Way Home?
No Way Home was the last one.
Yeah, No Way Home was a fairly decent balance of funny and emotional bits. But that I just have a gripe with how they did all of what's his name? Mysterio?
Yeah.
Is that his name?
Yeah.
Because most people in the audience understood that he was a villain from
Yeah.
like scene one.
Oh, yeah.
And then they tried to play him off as like this serious Tony Stark screwed me over character,
Yeah.
which they have done so many times. And like it's kind of interesting to do that again, especially with Tony gone now.
Yeah.
Like it's interesting to see that, but they did it so poorly that it was like, guys, this is why are we doing this again if you're not going to do it well?
Yeah, like the whole Mysterio casting was also a Easter egg in and of itself.
Yeah.
Because when they were making the Tobey Maguire movies, Jake Gyllenhaal was actually in the running to play Spider-Man, and he almost got the role because when Tobey Maguire was filming Seabiscuit, he suffered a back injury prior to filming Spider-Man 2, so there were doubts that he may not actually be able to play the role, and they were about that close to putting Jake Gyllenhaal in the role for Spider-Man 2, but thankfully Tobey recovered just enough to be able to do
So
Spider-Man
it is kind of cool that he did show up and did play a villain.
Yeah.
Like I'm very there for that. I'm also very here for a very good like representation of Mysterio. I feel like he had the character down pretty well. I just didn't love the way that they were trying to pretend that he wasn't going to be a villain. Like I feel like it just made his character seem way more stupid, meaning it made like Peter seem way more stupid because like the way that they did it, if you haven't seen the movie, was essentially like, oh, here's this guy who's trying to help him be a hero, but instead he's really the one creating all of the monsters.
Yeah.
And the fact that Peter falls for it so easily just makes him seem really stupid. And usually I'm okay with that kind of thing because usually that you could say that, oh, that's just Spider-Man being a kid. He doesn't really know how to be a hero yet. But it didn't feel right, you know?
At this point, he should at least have more of an idea because this
and like
is
the same thing happened to him with the Vulture before. They did that
like
beat before.
That one at least makes more sense because that was right after Civil War,
right?
So he was still kind of getting his foot in the door a little bit.
That one was good.
So with Far From Home, that one made no sense for him to not be able to pick up on that, because this is after Infinity War and Endgame. It's like the boy fought Thanos.
Right. He should
Like,
have
he should
the
at le- he should
experience
know
at this
it's
point.
like-
Yeah.
It's like it's like he took on the guy that wiped out half the universe.
Yeah.
Like,
He's
he
already
should
dealt
know.
with someone who like wasn't what they seemed. You know, he
Yeah.
dealt with that beat of a villain reveal before,
Mhm.
and then he fell for it again. And
Yeah.
and then the whole like newest film, again, not very smart decisions that set up the whole thing.
Yeah.
But I feel like that one was fine because it was very much like, yeah, a kid would be like, I just want all my friends to go to the same college with me.
Yeah.
That makes sense. But when it comes to being a hero, by the time that either of those movies happened, he should have
Yeah,
been
he should-
smarter.
Oh yeah,
So-
for sure. Yeah, no, it's a whole thing right there, and we are getting a fourth Tom Holland
Yep.
film, and rumors keep persisting that we could actually get a true like Tobey Maguire Spider-Man 4, and like the rumors just keep persisting, and I don't know whether they'll actually go for it or not. Like
I don't
everybody's
know.
down for it. Sam Raimi wants to do it. Toby wants to do it. Kirsten Dunst said she would totally come back as MJ.
Yeah.
Like, my thing is, if you're gonna do, because it's obviously years and years later, like, don't try to like have it pick up after Spider-Man 3. Like, have it be kind of like Logan. Have it be like
Yeah.
that character's final journey.
You know, like the Peter from Spider-Verse,
Yeah.
where he's been at being Spider-Man for so long
Yeah.
that he's just doesn't have like the spirit anymore.
Yeah.
I feel like they should do that. Like, I feel
Yeah.
like that is the best way to portray it. Because, like you say, if you tried to have it go right after, it's not going to make sense chronologically
Mhm.
for him to have that much change over time. But
yeah,
yeah.
like if anything, just have it be like one final threat that's so big, like for him.
yeah, but
Yeah, because I think it could work, but you know, obviously, I don't know. I think it would just be really cool just to have that one final like adventure with him, but they would have to do it right. Like, don't do it for the sake of
just
the
making
money.
a Spider-Man.
Yeah,
movie.
like do it because there is actually a really good story that can be told, and then go for it. But if not, then just don't do it. Just
Right.
like let that be one of the great what ifs.
I feel like that's a good enough segue for me to veer off of superheroes and kind of mention more animation. Because for Disney's centennial film, they tried to make something that was an homage to all of their other films and tropes and stuff like that.
Yep.
And then it just ended up being just a fest of like, oh, look, here's talking animals. Oh, look,
Yep.
here's the main character instantly falling in love.
Yep.
And like, it just felt very like they were making a bad parody of themselves.
Yeah.
And yes.
So you know what other movie had that?
Mhm.
The second Space Jam movie.
I didn't actually watch the second Space Jam movie.
You were spared.
I
mean,
haven't even seen the first Space Jam. I'm not gonna lie.
So the first one, it does have the advertising, it has the product placements,
Yeah.
but it's done in a very tongue-in-cheek way, because that was just the thing in the 90s. Michael Jordan was on everything.
Right.
You know? But with the second one, they went so overboard with it by being like, oh, it's in the serververse, and they tried to do the multiverse thing.
I am so
but that was
tired of
just
that.
Warner Brothers' excuse to throw literally every single IP they have into one movie.
Yeah.
And it came off way more, instead of like, oh, like this funny little adventure, instead of that, it became like, oh, it's just a giant billboard, like to the point that LeBron's jersey that he wears in the movie, which later on they did put on sale, like you could
Of
actually buy
course.
the jersey. It was a Nike jersey that had his, like, he has his own logo
Yeah.
on the jersey, and it's like that was just way too much. And they did make a lot of merch for the first Space Jam as well,
I
but
mean,
with this they went like so far
yeah.
overboard with it. It's like the first one, the joke was the merchandise.
Yeah.
Whereas here, it's like they totally forgot
The
that
movie
that was
was
the joke.
for the merchandise.
Yeah, the movie was for the merchandise, and the original one, like the merch and everything, was the joke.
Right. And like it's not a bad thing to make merch for movies.
Oh no, like I get you got to make your money.
Like, and I would fully get several like Spider-Verse merch stuff if I could, but like that's not the point of the movie though, you know? And for me, I really, really, really don't love how some studios have really seen the impact of Spider-Verse and took that to mean they just took that to mean, oh, we should do a multiverse instead of saying, oh, we should make high quality animated films.
Yeah.
Like they took the entirely wrong message from the movie, and that just hurts me so badly. So
yeah, like the big joke in the early years of Marvel, the big joke was, oh, every movie has to have a sky beam. The final battle has to have some sort of weapon or some sort of thing making a hole in the sky. And then after Infinity War and Endgame, with when you started to really get into the multiverse stuff, now it's like, oh, every studio has to do their own multiverse now. Like, where they're like, oh, we're going to do this multiverse thing so we can bring back these old characters. And I get it, it makes sense for some of them, give them that one last hurrah. But when it gets to the point that every other studio
it's just gone to being a cop-out as well.
Yeah.
Because, like, it's interesting to have it be, like, the plot of Loki.
Yeah.
Or, like, the plot of, like, the Spider-Man thing. Doctor Strange.
Yeah.
It really makes sense there. He is the guy who is in charge of time. You know,
like,
that
with
makes
him, it
sense.
makes sense.
But then having it be applicable to like every other character and just a means to cop out deaths and cop out like other franchise like main events, it just makes everything else feel much more cheap, because then nothing's really worth it. You can just say, whoops, never mind, that didn't actually happen. Multiverse,
like
we went back in time.
Like when they retcon for the sake of retconning.
Right.
Like with the most recent Halloween movies, like the first one, that one was like okay, because they were like, okay, we're going to avoid everything that happened except for the first movie and have it pick up 40 years later, one final showdown. Okay, cool. Should have ended right there.
Yeah.
But then they decided to go make two more, and then the third one they tried to tease as, oh, this is the true final showdown, but it's like, you told us
there's
two
gonna
movies
be another
ago.
one.
You told us 2 movies ago that this was the final showdown, and that's why it made so much money. Like,
Right.
that's why I went, because I remember I was like, yes, I want to see this final showdown between these two.
Yeah.
And then we get two
Like
more,
3
or
more
I should
movies.
say, we got 2 more movies, and then they introduced a whole other character in the final movie who's like the real bad guy, and then the actual final showdown is only like 4 minutes as compared to the first of the newer movies. That was like a 12-minute long like thing.
Yeah. And it just feels like a way to say the producers and executives probably see it as like we could bring back this character that people really like.
Yeah.
But then when all of the fans see is just, so there's no actual stakes anymore.
Yeah.
Like, especially when like the stakes are the entire multiverse falling apart.
Yep.
You get to the point where that's too big of a thing to happen, because if that happened, that means they can't make any more movies at all.
Yeah.
You go from the highest possible stakes being that main character of that movie could die to every superhero in every part of their franchise would be dead. They're not gonna do that. And so you know that they're not the stakes become absolutely nothing. And so it just makes everything feel disingenuous.
Yeah, like now, and it's kind of a bummer that they're doing this with older horror movies, because they just did it with The Exorcist as well, because they did the sequel, the true sequel to the original movie, which oddly enough is directed by the same guy who did the Halloween movies, the newer ones. And apparently they're going to make a trilogy of those, and it's like the first movie ended. It basically concludes the story right there. Like, there was never a need to do another one. And plus, like that original film is still so terrifying
Yeah.
that you can never,
I think they're gonna
you can't top it.
I think they're gonna do the same thing with Freddy Krueger too, because I saw
which kind of worries me because they've tried to do it. Like in 2009, they tried to do a reboot of
and it
that.
didn't go well.
Not really.
And the fact that they might be trying it again is very worrying
Yeah.
because the first time didn't go good. Why are you trying it again?
Yeah,
So-
like the only one where I saw that it actually kind of worked was with Saw 10. Because
Okay.
they placed it at a very specific point in the story. Because you have to remember, the story in the Saw movies is very, very convoluted. But they put it in such a spot.
I fully have not seen any of the Saw movies, so
Okay, so they put it in just the right spot that it makes sense for it to happen. And they don't portray the characters as anything different than what they would have been at that time.
okay.
So it actually kind of works.
Okay.
And it does give you some insight into why other characters do certain things in later movies, but it's not like Solo where they're like, oh, they explain everything. They just kind of
Yeah.
give you little nuggets.
Yeah.
So that one worked, and I know they're doing another one, and I'm like, okay, if you're doing another one, try to place it at the right spot, and then just like end it right there because the
Wait.
franchise is crazy.
Without knowing literally anything about Saw, I feel like that's a series that you can get away with it a little bit more, just because like Halloween is like it's about the one guy,
Yeah,
and it's whereas Saw is way more about like here's these weird creepy puzzles, you know? Like
Yeah.
it's less about the actual how to say like fight or
Yeah.
like the characters
yeah.
and more about the setup, you know?
Yeah, Saw's way more about the setup, but also too the big thing with Saw is like in hindsight they actually kind of knew what they were doing because it was originally supposed to be the one movie, but it was so big that they made more, but they realized that the mythology they created about John Kramer and then later
Yeah.
on his disciples was big enough that it actually could support the weight of doing multiple entries,
Right.
and each disciple basically gets about a movie and a half that's their story.
Right. I don't know anything about the movie, but that
I just did like a whole for my English class a few years ago. I actually did a whole psychoanalytical critique on the whole franchise
that.
up to that point.
but I feel like that is a decent wrapping up spot for now.
Yes.
Later, I would like to come back with this specifically talking about animation because we could sit here and talk about horror franchises and superheroes all day, but there's a lot to be said about
There's a lot to
specifically
be
animation
said,
too.
and we got a whole summer to figure that out.
Yep.
So yeah, that about does it for the Dumpster Fire 4.1 for this semester. Dumpster Fire 4.2 will kick off in a couple of weeks once the summer semester starts.
That will be on Monday from 3:30 to 7:30.
Yeah.
Yes.
Dax, we will miss you. I will
Yes.
miss you because holy smokes, you've been a part of this journey pretty much almost since the beginning.
You might show up here and then, maybe.
Yes.
But
If Joe will let me, I'll show
Yeah.
up here and there.
Yeah. Well, I mean, if it's the summer, you might just show up and be like, "Hey, I'm
Right.
signed up."
I don't know. I don't know what you're talking about. I would never show up somewhere not when I'm not allowed to be there.
no, that would never happen.
That's
no.
not. That doesn't sound like
That
me.
doesn't sound like Dax.
Right.
No, I always am allowed to be where I am at all times.
Right.
Yes. Dax has the all access pass.
I definitely don't just pretend like I have the all access pass and then
It works out.
you know,
It works out.
I've only gotten in trouble a couple of times. It's fine.
It's
That
fine.
is very different than actually having permission to be places,
Right.
but all right.
But
Yeah, it's fine.
it's been just a great semester, a great ride. For those of you graduating, congratulations. Enjoy the moment. Be safe.
Yes.
Speak from experience. And that does it for us. We will be back in a few weeks. We thank you all so much. This is AIM Student Radio, the way radio should be. Up next, we have Monarchy of Roses by the Red Hot Chili Peppers. Enjoy. This was a Dumpster Fire, and you were all warned.
Bye bye.